What's going on, you guys? It's Eli with Common Sense, and today I'm going to be reviewing 8 Middle Eastern fragrances that I picked up from TripleTraders.com. TripleTraders.com, not sponsored, but I just discovered their website and I really like them. It's a really nice resource to dip your toes into the world of Middle Eastern fragrances. And lots of nice kind of hidden gems and undiscovered fragrances from that site. So we're going to be looking at 8 of those today. But before we do that, if you're new to the video, I'd like to welcome you guys. Thank you for visiting the channel, and let's get started. All right, you guys, sorry, I kind of had to record that a few times because my mic was shut off and there was also noise and stuff outside. People were like mowing their lawns and there was an airplane going over. Man, I would love to finish this video. This is like the 6th take I've done of this. Can you believe that? Oh well. First up, we have a fragrance by Lattafa, and this one is called Lattafa Khamrah. As you guys know, Lattafa Khamrah is a clone of by Kilian's Angel Share. And I haven't actually smelled Angel Share before, but I love all of the fragrances that kind of smell like it, and I'm gonna order a sample so that I can compare these two side by side. But as you can see, this has a really nice presentation. You have this sort of brushed wood along the bottom, as well as sort of like a faux leather. It's very fine. I don't know if you can actually see it, but it's really nice. You have the Lattafa logo on the top and the holographic logo on the back, like most of their fragrances. And on the bottom, it just has kind of the barcode, the fragrance strength, as well as some other information. Ooh, look at that. You have this really cool kind of whiskey glass look, and it has these awesome little indentations on the side, and it just looks really fantastic on the cap as well as the actual bottle itself. I'm gonna just open it up. Get a look at that bottle. I've actually opened this and used this a little bit earlier, so that's why there's probably some smudges on it. But look at that glass and that juice. You get that sort of orange colored juice as well, and the cap, I guess on mine, it's a little bit loose, but it does not want to come off when you pull on it. You have to really pull on it. If you spray it, very pleasing. To me, I get a lot of fruitiness, kind of dried dates, that kind of listed praline note right up top, and you also get a little bit of creamy floral sweetness at the top as well. This one has tuberose, cinnamon, nutmeg, dates, praline, vanilla, tonka, and ouds in it. This one smells perfect for the kind of fall and winter season, and it just smells absolutely wonderful on skin. This one, I kind of see the hype here because the presentation's amazing. It lasts a really long time, and I've sprayed this several hours ago and it's still going really strong. Like I can still smell it on my like mustache hair when I was like smelling it, but it's got sort of a sweet dessert vibe with a little bit of smoke. It's just got a nice resinous spice as well. To me, this one's a little bit creamy from the vanilla and the tuberose, and it keeps it a little bit sweet and kind of waxy. It just smells really pleasant, kind of like a fall candle, if that makes sense. Yeah, right up top, it's very bright. It almost smells like there's a little bit of pineapple or something in it. But as it kind of calms down, those fruits kind of simmer down and they kind of float off, and it smells a little bit more smoky. You get some more of the spices, the tonka and the oud kind of comes out really nicely. Fantastic deal. It was, I think I paid around $40 to $50 for this one, but honestly, I've seen it as low as $35. I just decided to pay the 50 bucks and get it because I was kind of tired of waiting and just really wanted to smell this. High quality juice, lasts a really long time. As I said, I've tested it. So this one is Lattafa's Khamrah. Next up, we have another fragrance from another Middle Eastern company, and this one is from one that I actually haven't heard of before. This one's by a company called Fragrance World. This is gonna be my first time trying anything by them. This one is called Barakkat. This one is called Barakkat Ambre Eve. Can you guess kind of what brand this is going after? It's Maison Francis-Kurkdjian. This one is a clone of Maison Francis-Kurkdjian's Grand Soir, and I absolutely love that fragrance. It's a really nice kind of sweet and ambery fragrance. It has that kind of nice gold texture on the outside, and it actually is a little sleeve. It just kind of slides out. You also have the white version on the inside. You got the Fragrance World logo up top, and the kind of information on the bottom. This one actually looks really similar to the Maison Francis-Kurkdjian bottles. This is 100 ml, whereas the other ones are like a 70 ml for the actual MFK ones. This one, again, Grand Soir clone, but it looks really nice. The presentation's great. You see the logo up top, and it's not bad for 28 bucks. This one, it's Oh my gosh, that smells really good. Just right up top, I get a lot of sweet kind of ambery resins. It's very soft and kind of cozy at the same time. This one has labdanum, benzoin, tonka, amber, and vanilla in it. This one to me smells really mature. It's very, very pleasing. It's very fall and winter-esque. I think this is going to be perfect to pull out, you know, for these colder weathers. And it just smells really, really nice and mature. I actually wore this one yesterday. Honestly, it lasted around 3 to 4 hours, projecting really strong off my skin. And then I still smelled it around 8 or so hours later, kind of coming through my sweaters and stuff. And it lasted a really long time. I think it was like 29 bucks for this 100 ml bottle. It's really, really good smell. And I actually have a little card of the dry down as well that I'm going to try out. So the dry down is actually a lot better in my opinion. This one smells a lot more smoky. It almost reminds me of Fragrance Du Bois' New York 5th Avenue. You get that smoky oud with some of those resins. This one smells fantastic once it dries down. You lose a little bit of that brightness from the top, but you get a lot of that labdanum, which is frankincense, that kind of nice deep and resinous vibe, and you also get the benzoin and the tonka. It just smells absolutely wonderful once it dries down. But 29 bucks for 100 ml of Barakkat Ambre Eve by Fragrance World. This next one is from the fragrance house of Maison Alhambra. This one is a really, really interesting clone of a Tom Ford fragrance. I'm talking about Maison Alhambra's Tobacco Touch. As you guys can see, this is a clone of Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. It's got that same kind of textured crosshatch look, as well as the kind of gold around the bottom. Again, holographic with the info on the sides and the bottom. But if we pull this up, does that not look like a Tom Ford bottle? Sadly, I actually dropped this one because I lifted it from the top of the lid and it chipped a little bit in that corner, as you can see, but the juice is fine. Interesting bottle, looks really similar, but it has this kind of beveled look around the side and the bottom as well. This one I actually wore yesterday and I am delightfully surprised at its performance. Let's go ahead and give this one a spray. Wow, that smells almost spot on to the opening of Tobacco Vanille. That's crazy. This one has tobacco, ginger, and vanilla, just like Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. You're missing some of those kind of other notes. I think they just simplified it. This one, I just get a nice spicy vanilla tonka. It's not listed, but I feel like I get a little bit of clove or maybe nutmeg or one of those kind of ingredients that's found in kind of pumpkin spice, you know, something fall like that. But this one actually kind of reminds me of chai tea, and I think somebody else had pointed that out as well in the fragrance blogs. But this one, it smells unbelievably strong. It goes really, really hard for that first few hours, and then it kind of sits back a little bit closer to your skin, but still it still projects. Like, you can still smell it. It probably lasted me at least 8 to 10 hours on my skin, and I just did like one spray. So if you spray your clothing and do a lot more, this is gonna last a really, really long time. I also have the dry down right here, and I'm just gonna give that a sniff. You definitely lose a bit of that brightness up top. I think that ginger kind of evaporates a little bit, and you're left with that nice kind of dry smoky tobacco with vanilla as well. But you do get some of that ginger. It's just not that bright kind of lemony ginger. It's just a nice warm ginger and spice. But again, it reminds me of chai tea, and it smells really nice, kind of herbal, herbaceous, with a really nice tobacco and kind of vanillic vibe as well. It's just kind of sweet and rooty. It just smells really, really, really nice once it finally dries down. This one I believe was also around $33, and I believe this is an 80 ml. But yeah, I believe this is an 80 ml bottle rather than a 50 ml. So it's taller than the Tom Fords, but not quite as tall as the 100 ml Tom Ford bottles. It's kind of unique, stands out a little bit in your collection, but it smells really, really good. Like a kind of spicy chai tea with a nice kind of tobacco leaf under that. Really nice. That is Maison Alhambra's Tobacco Touch. This next one is by the House of Lattafa, and we are looking at Badee Al Oud for Glory. Some of these I tried preserving the plastic wrap so I could do it on camera, but honestly, kind of a headache. Look at that. If you've seen my other review, I reviewed Badee Al Oudh Amethyst, the purple one that smells really, really nice. It smells like Initio's Atomic Rose, but this one is a clone of Initio's Oud for Greatness. You've got that really, really nice bottle, and you can see that intricate logo design on there. You have the gold around the edge, also got the holographic look on the back, and it just opens up kind of like a clam, pops right out the top. You have a really nice cap on this one. It's weighted, it's kind of rubberized as well as the rest of the bottle. It's got that Art Deco look to the side of the bottle, and you can see it has the name of the fragrance up there, and it just looks really, really impressive. Okay, that's interesting. It's a little bit similar to the other Badee Al Oudh Amethyst edition. This one, it's a little bit petrol-y, a little bit synthetic up top. You do get a lot of that kind of saffron, that agar wood, and it is a little bit of a spice feel to it, but it also has a little bit of that kind of synthetic plasticky vibe. It's still kind of pleasant nonetheless, and I know that with the other one, if you let it dry down, it smells way better. So let's just give it a little bit of time to do that. Wow, once this dries down, it is really pleasant. You get that saffron, that's really nice and strong, mixed with the nutmeg and the agar wood. And the patchouli is really nice, kind of earthy, a little bit creamy. And you also get that lavender, which keeps it a little bit herbal. It's pleasant, and it's a little bit less harsh than it was in the beginning. I see the Baccarat Rouge 540 in the top. The dry down, not so much. It smells a little bit more like Halton, and you kind of lose a little bit of that sweetness. But once it dries down, it's that really nice kind of dark oudiness that's really nice. With this one, you get sort of an earthy oud with a nice muskiness at the bottom. That kind of lasts throughout this whole lifetime of the fragrance. Again, it just smells really nice, kind of earthy, a little bit rooty, but that saffron keeps it nice and kind of blended, and a little bit spicy mixed with the agar wood and the patchouli and musk. Really, really nice fragrance, honestly. And that one is Badee Al Oudh for Glory by Lattafa. Next up on our list is a fragrance from the house of Maison Alhambra, which is also a Lattafa subsidiary. This one is Zaffiro Crafted Oud. I was really curious to try this one out because this one is sort of a clone of a clone. This one's a clone of Thameen's carved oud, which is also an interpretation of Tom Ford's oud wood. As you can see, this has a really, really nice presentation. It has that embossed look at the top. You have that gold, and you have the Maison Alhambra kind of deer right there. You have the holograph right there, and the information. No information on the bottom. Everything's on the back. And as you pull it out, you have this really nice kind of booklet style presentation, and this is a really, really nice presentation. You have this cloth back here that the fragrance is laying in, and you can see the name as well as the house. It is very similar to the Thameen bottles with that blue glass and that kind of black top. This one I also wore yesterday as well. I kind of like to try these out a little bit before I review them. This smells really, really good. It's very earthy and warm. I get that cardamom and that nice creamy white floral up top. You also get a really strong cypress as well as some other woods. This one, it also is said to have iris, cedar, patchouli, vanilla, and white musk. So this is basically a slightly more floral, a little bit lighter version of Tom Ford's oud wood. Up top, it's really, really pleasant. It's sort of a citrusy hop. Man, that's an interesting vibe with the kind of iris, patchouli, and the musk and everything in there. It's really pleasing. In fact, I almost want to say I like this a little bit more than oud wood. Definitely smells close to Thameen carved oud, but it's a little bit brighter. It's a little bit stronger than some of those, and I really am a fan of this one. Whew. It's just really nice, fresh, musky with some of that kind of oud wood and carved oud vibe in the bottom as well. Also, the dry down. Funny enough, the dry down smells brighter. On the dry down, it definitely still has that nice kind of bright muskiness mixed with that kind of oud and the other woods. The iris kind of keeps it smelling a little bit, tiny bit waxy. I love the white florals. It's definitely a nice take on these two fragrances, carved oud and oud wood. Really, really worth the $35 that I spent on this one. And it's something that everyone can enjoy. And that one is Zaffiro's Crafted Oud by Maison Alhambra. Next up, we have a fragrance from the house of Ard Al Zaafran. I've heard of this fragrance before, but I've never really heard of that brand before, so I'm really happy and curious to try this one out. This one's Midnight Oud. I just love this box. Like, this looks really, really cool. It's got a really artistic box on this one. It's got that nice sleeve, as well as the back. You have the holographic area and all of the information on the back. Slides out right here, so you can see that. Whoa, that almost fell forward. That would not have been good. A very nice kind of regal look to this one. All right, so you kind of have to be careful because I don't know if you can see this, but there is some paper that's coming apart right there. It's a little bit cheap, this part. I'm curious to see what this says. Does anybody know what this says? If anyone speaks Arabic, could you please let me know what that says? I would love to know what that says. Check out this bottle. This just looks really, really cool. It's a nice royal blue, and I know it's kind of hard to see because it's a little bit dark. Really nice bottle. You have an interesting cap. You can see it actually has a little bit of fabric up top, and the cap itself is sort of exposed here. It's just kind of like a claw going around the top. That's really creative. This one, I can already smell it. It's a clone and interpretation of Amouage's Interlude. Woo! Yes, yes, yes. This one, I get a lot of sweet spiciness up top. It's very smoky incense. It's a little bit fresh up top from the bergamot, oregano, and the allspice. And then it also has a nice kind of warmth from the amber, the frankincense, which is the Opanax, the cistus, leather, oud, patchouli, and sandalwood. There's lots of wonderful notes in this one. It's a very nice woody fragrance, a lot of smoky incense. Some people say that they get a little bit of a cannabis vibe from this one. I don't necessarily get that. I think that's just kind of that green smokiness. I guess that's kind of up to everyone's interpretation. But this one, I love the presentation. It just looks really high quality, and it just feels good in the hand as well. As for the dry down, ooh, okay, this dry down is nice. You get a lot more of the incense and the sandalwood in this one. It's like the spices and the resins are amped up to 10. Once it finally dries down, you lose some of that fresh bergamot, and all that kind of remains is that wonderful, spicy, oudi leather at the bottom. That is really impressive. I cannot believe this for the price. $25 for wonderful, high quality, smoky incense. That is actually mind-blowing. There's a lot of designer fragrances that are like 5 to 10 times this price that don't smell nearly as strong or as good or last as long. Man, I sprayed this probably 6 hours ago and it still is going strong on this little tester. Wow. Ard Al Zaafran, I am impressed. Highly recommend Midnight Oud by Ard Al Zaafran. Next up is another one that I am really excited to try. This one is another Lattafa fragrance, and I'm talking about Ameer Al Oud Intense Oud. People say to definitely pick up the Ameer Al Oud Intense Oud versus the original Ameer Al Oud. This one is better. It feels nice and thick. The lettering is really nice. It's kind of that gold. Really unique bottle right here. It looks really nice and regal. It's tall, it's proud, and it looks really, really nice. The cap itself is a nice kind of heavy metal. That one is really nice. You get sort of like a peppery, oudi sugar. This one online, it says that it has woods, vanilla, oud, sugar, and sandalwood. And this one's also compared to By the Fireplace. This one smells a little bit similar to Azdaf's Majd Al Sultan, which I actually unboxed in a previous video, so definitely go check that one out. But up top, you get that nice vanilla and kind of toasted sugar. It smells like a vanilla marshmallow, a little bit kind of toasted, but it kind of smells like you're doing that in the forest. The dry down definitely has that vanilla, and the sugar kind of calmed down, and it smells a little bit spicier. It still smells really, really nice and pleasing. That sandalwood keeps it a little bit creamy. The vanilla just smells nice and kind of sweet. It almost reminds me of like kind of a smoked tonka a little bit, but it's still very rich and sweet nonetheless, like several hours later on this dry down. This one kind of takes Majd Al Sultan by Azdaf, and it kind of does what I wanted it to do. It's really nice. It's kind of creamy, rich and sweet with a little bit of booziness, but that vanilla and that sandalwood and oud pair really nicely with everything. It just smells like a sweet kind of booziness mixed with a nice foresty wood. That's really interesting. This one is probably the cheapest of the list. It was $15 for this 100 ml bottle, which is insane if you think about the value and the longevity for these. This one I haven't tested as much on skin, but I've heard great things about its longevity, probably 6 to 8 hours, sometimes longer depending on if you spray onto clothes or not. But this one, really, really nice for the price. Lattafa's Ameer Al Oud Intense. Ooh, that's nice. Hopefully I can finish this one before it gets too dark. The sun is setting and I want to finish this. This next one is Kismet for Men by Maison Alhambra. This one I've heard is an Yves Saint Laurent tuxedo clone, and I'm really curious to try this one. Look at this beautiful packaging. It's a really nice high quality rubberized box around the side. It's got the gold information as well as the holograph right there. Like one of the previous ones, it opens up through the top and you get this beautiful bottle. Cap is another really high quality metal cap. It feels nice. The bottle is nice and square and it feels nice and high quality. You have this really interesting kind of design on the side, and on the front you can see that nice kind of embossed logo right there. It actually sticks out. It's not like just printed on. It feels really high quality. Ooh, oh man, I got some of that on my tongue. Wow, nice sweet patchouli. You get spices and coffee. This one listed, it has woody notes, nutmeg, patchouli, coffee, cacao, sandalwood, vanilla, and vetiver. This one's often compared to Rocha's Mustache and Killian's Straight to Heaven. This one's interesting. You get a little bit of a sweet kind of patchouli fruitiness up top, and I'm not quite sure what note that is because I don't really see anything that's really fruity listed. Maybe the patchouli. But that smells really nice. Get a nice resinous patchouli with the vetiver that's a little bit kind of peppery, but it smells very natural. And this one smells very mature, honestly. Ooh, this dry down is where it's at. Once it dries down, you get a nice kind of mellowy, dark cocoa patchouli mix. I get a little bit of coffee. It's similar to the coffee in Salvatore Ferragamo's Uomo Casual Life. Not crazy coffee, but just like a hint of coffee with a little bit of brightness to it. Kind of in the beginning, it smelled more of like a spicy, kind of woody, slight mocha. It dries down to a more mature, kind of darker patchouli with some of that wood and sandalwood. That smells really nice. It reminds me of a David Beckham fragrance a little bit. There was one that I tried. I think it was one of the Icon ones. It gives a little bit of that kind of vibe, but this one smells a lot higher quality, a little bit darker, but it's really interesting how this is played out. All in all, this one's very nice. It's kind of dark. It's a little bit mature. It's compared to YSL's Tuxedo, and I'm really digging this one. But that one is Kismet for Men by Maison Alhambra. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today and for watching this. This was a really fun video to put together. I love discovering these Middle Eastern fragrances and all of these wonderful houses from overseas. And I just love discovering new ideas and new fragrance tastes from all over the world. And I absolutely love doing what I do. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and leave a like, and even turn on the post notifications so you can see more videos like this when I make them. My name is Eli with Common Sense, and it has been a pleasure. Until the next time, see ya. And I'm really excited that I discovered that. So, of course, there's an airplane. Thought it would be a wonderful idea recording this outside when we're like 2 miles away from our airport. And it just smells really kind of fruity and creamy up top. Are you kidding me? You actually wore this one yesterday. What the hell is going on over there?